Sometimes when we're arguing with people on the internet, it can be disheartening. But at the same time, some of the most egregious arguments put forward can be encouraging in a way, because when you ask the other person for clarification on the accusation, say for example, they're calling you a racist bigot for noticing a correlation between Afghan migrants to this country and increased levels of rape per capita when compared with the indigenous male population of this country. Rather than countering that, all they do is say that, yeah, you're a racist bigot, xenophobe, and without elaborating on any of the specific points, which is what I always ask for. I do encourage people to comment under my videos. There was one under my most recent video which I don't know why, but it doesn't appear unless you press newest. It seems to default to top. But this person was accusing me of basically being ignorant and only reading books written by the worst possible people on earth. I've asked him to, or her, because this person's obviously anonymous, to elaborate on who the worst possible people on earth might be. I'd be interested to, if there is some coherent response to that. But things like that do set the alarm bells ringing, because very often people who say things like that, when you dig a little deeper, you find out that they specifically target Israel and Zionism and the Jews. It's obvious that the Jewish religion is very small by comparison to the Islamic religion, and there are certainly aspects within Judaism and stories in what we call the Old Testament, or the Torah, which have such things as stoning adulterers, and having people must be pure when they're entering the temple, and no intermarrying between tribes, that sort of thing. However, when you compare modern Judaism to, in the 21st century and Islam in the 21st century, it's pretty obvious which of those two, if you had to make a choice, are causing the most problems in Britain today. And I don't particularly want to focus on things happening thousands of miles away. I can have an opinion about Iran or Palestine or Israel or Syria, Argentina. It doesn't really matter where it is, but my focus is where I live, in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And I think that sovereignty and patriotism and nationalism are things that help to focus the people that we have to live with, to allow us to get along better with each other, and that can't be a bad thing. It's I would say asking the impossible to be expected to get along with everybody everywhere in the world. If I traveled to India, for example, I wouldn't expect to feel completely at home or to have everybody there recognize whatever my preferences are and play along with that. Another small thing I want to mention, I commented on the YouTube channel of a Polish person, a trans activist, called Abby, I think, who is British but has lived in Poland for a number of years, and is making an argument that Britain is so bigoted and it's transphobic, Islamophobic, and on and on and on. I had a little bit of a comment exchange back and forth, and basically, again, I get accused of being racist for recognizing Islam as being problematic in Britain in the 21st century. And I make the point that Islam is a religion, it's an ideology, some people call it a death cult, but it's not a race. People from all races are Islamic, are Muslims. It may be, and it probably is the case, that these people are predominantly Middle Eastern, with quite a few African countries thrown in. But it's making a category error to accuse somebody who is critical of a particular religion of being racist, and it's tiresome. But we have to state the bleeding obvious over and over. It gets boring, but I think it's necessary, because more people stumble into these arguments, and if you're new to it, you can easily be taken in by that argument. But you just have to think about it a little bit, understand what ethnicity is, understand what an ideology is, and it's easier to make sense of it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.